What if the reason you're broke has nothing to do with your salary, and everything to do with your parents? Psychologists call it financial trauma inheritance, the idea that you don't just inherit your parents' money. You inherit their fear of it, their guilt around it, even their bad habits with it. Here's the uncomfortable part: if your parents fought about money, avoided talking about it, or treated debt like normal, statistically, you're more likely to repeat the exact same pattern. Not because you're bad with money. Because nobody ever taught you a different script. Think about it. Nobody sits you down and teaches you how to budget, invest, or even talk about salary without shame. You learn all of it by watching. And most of us were watching people who were stressed, silent, or straight up avoiding the topic. Picture two friends. Same salary, same job, same city. One grew up watching their parents track every shilling, talk openly about money, even argue about it constructively. The other grew up in a house where money was never mentioned, until there was a crisis. 10 years later, the first friend is investing confidently. The second is still anxious just opening a banking app. Same income. Completely different relationship with money. That's not talent. That's inheritance, just not the kind you expected. This isn't just a nice theory, it shows up everywhere. Kids of parents who avoided money conversations are statistically more likely to avoid budgeting themselves as adults. Kids who watched constant financial stress often either become extreme savers out of fear, or extreme spenders trying to feel in control. Neither one is really a free choice. It's a coping mechanism you built before you even knew what money was. Now, before you go blaming your parents for everything, let's be fair. Most of them were doing their best with what they knew. They weren't taught this stuff either. Somebody in your family, at some point, was the first person just trying to survive, not build a financial curriculum. This isn't about blame. It's about finally seeing the pattern so you can choose differently. But here's the good news, and this is the part most people miss: awareness breaks the cycle. The moment you can name the pattern, you're no longer stuck repeating it blindly. Neuroscience backs this up too: habits formed in childhood aren't fixed, they're just default settings. Defaults can be changed. So what do you actually do with this? Simple: start naming the pattern out loud. Notice if you avoid money talk, overspend to feel in control, or hoard out of fear. That single moment of noticing is the whole cycle breaker. You don't need a finance degree, you need awareness before the next decision. And here's the bigger picture: this pattern doesn't just decide your bank balance. It shapes how you'll raise your own kids, what you'll teach them without even meaning to. The cycle either stops with you, or it quietly continues. That's the real weight of this conversation. So, did your parents shape how you handle money? Drop it in the comments. And if this hit different, subscribe. Kome Explains breaks one uncomfortable truth every episode.